this here. There we go. There we go. So guys, whether you're on from California, and I think right now Cali is 6:15 time, uh, Mountain Time Arizona is 8, Central Texas, Illinois Central, um, or Eastern time, right? Afternoon, guys. I appreciate you guys for being on. This is our Monday evening training, and I wanna start first by giving you guys a couple dates to put in mind. Okay, number one, this next Monday, so 7 days from now, right? Next Monday, we usually start our training at 9 p.m. We're going to start this training. We're going to start at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Okay, so at 9 o'clock we're doing a general training, but at 8 o'clock we're going to kick off. We're going to kick off something new. It's going to be the second Monday of every single month. We're going to call it TKO Wine Night. Okay, we're going to call it TKO Wine Night. Right there, you can everybody say, yeah, right. So what are we going to do TKO Wine Night? What a couple of the VPs mentioned to me, they said, you know what, Tony, we're building big, right? But we don't know who everybody is. We don't know who everybody is, and it'd be good to kind of get to know one another, and outside of a training type of a session. So we said, well, why don't we have like a wine night, like a get together type thing? So every second Monday of the month, right? This Monday coming up, from 8 to 9 Eastern time, right? An hour just before training. Get on the camera, have your glass of wine, and or have your glass of grape juice or glass of whatever it is that you want, right? If you're a beer guy, have a glass of beer, and get on and just get a chance to get to meet some of the people in the organization, get a chance to say hello to them, listen to their stories, get to meet some of the VPs. I get people all the time. They're like, hey, do we have anybody that's running in this territory? Do you have anybody that's running in that territory? It's always kind of good to know who the faces are, so you can help with your matchup system. You can help with building rapport. You can help even with your recruiting interviews. But more importantly, we get a chance to build together as a family and really just kind of get to know one another and hear our backstories. You'd be amazed how many people you have similarities to. Okay, today I did an orientation I did an orientation today on a lady to learn that she started at Wells Fargo, transitioned over to Northwestern Mutual, and now she's here. It's kind of funny because if you remember my backstory, I started off at Wachovia Bank, which is now Wells Fargo. And then when that transition happened, I went over to Northwestern Mutual, which is where I gained the majority of my knowledge base in this industry. So, you learn that stuff. So we get a chance to kind of throw back a glass of wine, not two, okay, not 2 glasses or 3 glasses, because right afterwards we have training. So I don't need everybody all tipsy when we going into training, okay? But put that down on your calendar. It'd be good to have you guys on. It'd be good to have your new agents on. More importantly, the new agents, right? To give them that feeling of family, so that they're not, thinking to themselves, holy crap, I just joined an organization, I just joined a company, I don't know what it is, and then they scare themselves out, right? By building a friendship, the nerves calm down, and they realize that we all come from the same walk of life. There's nobody here, including myself, that I would say was handed this type of an opportunity. We all came from humble beginnings, and we're pushing to improve our lives and our legacy. So that's the first date. Second date, June 19th. June 19th is another date, which is the following Saturday. It's kind of funny. Next week, we have a lot of cool stuff, right? We have training Monday, we have training Saturday. So Monday, we drink and we get drunk. I'm just playing. We get to know each other with wine night. And then Saturday, we have our Closers College. Closers College. Let me give you the hours and let me give you some of the updates. Here's the biggest update. This is enormous. If you're not talking about it to people, you're making a big mistake. Closers College is no longer going to require qualifications to participate. I'll repeat it. Closers College does not require any type of requirements in order to participate. That means if you are a part of any of the agencies within the TKO Financial Network, you're automatically invited to attend Closers College. This is to your benefit. This is 100% to your benefit, okay? This isn't one of those, oh, I only can come to the first half, but I can't come to the second, or I can't make it. No, this is going to be open for everybody to attend. It begins at 9:45 a.m. Eastern time. We're going to start a little bit later to help out the West Coast crew, okay? And we're going to end at 4 p.m. Eastern time, right? So we're crunching it down a little bit, right? Our normal Closers Colleges would run from 8 in the morning till 6 p.m. And what we realized is, you know what I mean? Let's crunch it down a little bit. Let's add a little bit more. Let's add a little bit more structure to it and really bring some value to the operation. So 9:45 a.m. Eastern time. Make sure whatever time zone you're in, you're adjusting that. 9:45 a.m. Eastern time until 4 p.m. Eastern time, right? So if you think about it, it's about 6 hours. We're going to have an hour lunch in between. It's about 5 hours worth of training. In that training, so you guys know, we're going to be addressing underwriting, right? So if you're brand new to the game and you're turning in business, you're going to get a session in underwriting from Nicole Valentin, who by far to me has become one of the best case managers I've ever had the pleasure of working with. She just knows her craft, and she knows that in that side of the business a heck of a lot better than even myself. She's going to have a session to train on. We're going to learn about illustration design, and that's going to be ran by myself, and as well it's going to be ran by Howard Rabinowitz. He's going to really break down how to run illustration on the IUL platform, the GUL platform, giving you the understandings of that. We're going to be talking about credit repair with our credit repair division with Natalia. She's going to have a session on that as well too. I'm going to have a session towards the end as well too that's going to be 100% focused on substance training, role playing. What I'm working on, I think everybody here would really like it, is if I actually had a live case. If I was able to get on a Zoom and have a live actual client meeting, you guys can actually just, you guys ever heard that term? If I could have just been a fly on the wall, you ever heard that term? I'm going to give everybody an opportunity to be a fly on the wall. I'm focused to see if I can schedule 1 or 2 meetings that day, so you guys can just literally just kind of sit in, and rather than giving you a role play, let me give you a real scenario, right? Now, I can't guarantee that I'll be successful. I mean, think about it. We're having financial consultations with these individuals, and I've got to make sure that they're okay with an entire classroom of people just kind of watching them divulge their financials to me. Every time I think about it, I think of like Grey's Anatomy. Y'all remember Grey's Anatomy when the surgeons are down at the bottom and the students are up at the top in that like glass room, and they're just kind of looking down? Kind of like that same thing in the virtual space. But again, lock those dates down. Next month, July 17th. Next month, July 17th, okay? July 17th is our next Closers College. And for those of you in Illinois, y'all really need to be rallying up for that, okay? Sandra and I are looking to fly out that weekend. I'm looking to pull in Thursday morning into Illinois. That means I can be out on the field with you guys Thursday afternoon. I could be out on the field with you guys all day Friday. Then Saturday, July 17th, we'll be doing Closers College, virtual for everybody, but live for anybody in the state of Illinois. And I'll get you more information on that as I get more information, reference to location and everything. But I really love to rally up 50, 60 people like we did last January. So currently, guys, I think we've got about 16, 17 people so far that we brought on board this month. Here's my big question. Because what I don't want to do is a seesaw in the business. Here's what I mean by the seesaw. Recruiting numbers go up, production goes down, or production numbers go up, recruiting numbers go down. Right now, this month, we are killing it. We are absolutely killing it in the agency building game. We've done legit work. Let me kind of tell you where we are right now. For the month, we are at let me see here. For the month right now, we are at 17. We are at 17 for the month. I just had an agent text me that they can't get on. Let me see. Yeah, I just texted her the link. I think she got on there. No, I'm not sure. Anyhow, we're at 17 for the month. Here's my question, though. How many of you have a piece of business that you're like this close to closing, you haven't done it yet, or you just closed it, but you haven't submitted into the system yet? How many of you guys would you say, oh, I don't know who did that. Sorry. Okay, Irvin 1. Can you jot these names down, babe? Irvin 1, Rubiel 2. I see Rubiel with his hands up. Anybody else get their hands up? Anybody got business in their hand that they have to turn in that they have not turned in yet? Rubiel's got 2 pieces of business, okay? I'm just looking through here. Nefertari, talk to me. What's going on with that big old case you had going on up in the California market? What could we do for you there?
I just got licensed from California yesterday. So
Okay.
now I'm talking to them this week.
Okay, all right. Let's knock that bad boy out. Okay, great.
Hopefully 5 of them.
Say it again.
I said hopefully it's 5 of them.
5 applications from Nefertari.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I like it. Way to break the seal. I like that. So Nefertari's got 5 cases in California. She's working. Rubiel's got 2. Somebody else had their hand up. Who was it that I had given you their name? Irvin. Irvin has a piece of business, I believe, South Carolina. South Carolina is also on the map. Anybody else, if you're speaking and we can't, and I'm not calling you, it's because you're on mute and I haven't heard you. Anybody got any business that they're like, I have this in my hand, I'm ready to close it, I just haven't turned it in, I just need to meet with them this one time this week and make this bad boy happen. Anybody? Puebly's got a piece of business. One piece of business, two pieces of business. What you got? Two pieces of business? Okay. Okay. Awesome. All right, cool. So Puebly's got that. So if I just got your name, be on the lookout. I'm going to be checking up on you to see what help you need to get that bad boy turned in. This is the last month of the first half of the year. Once we hit July 1st, we literally start the first day of the second half. Our goal as an organization is to produce $1 million in issue-placed business from January 8th when we went live to December 31st. And if you think about it, it's really only about 11 months because the first month, the main focus was just getting contracts in and everything like that. So my goal first year out, I'm talking bragging rights type numbers, is to do $1 million of issue-placed business. And I want to make sure that we close off this first half strong. So let's get our game faces on. Let's turn in as much business as we stinking can and make that bad boy happen. All right. Shout outs real quickly to our builders. We've got a VP team that's established out in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, right? So if you've got clientele there, potential recruits, the Dallas-Fort Worth area, we've got a VP team brand new to the game over there, ran by Walter Edmondson and Udoka, okay? We've got a VP team that just formed out in the Southwest Florida area by the name of CJ Noel and Robin Noel. These are industry people that came from the HBW organization, which is a much smaller agency than multiple six-figure earners. They have a very strong influence in the Haitian community. They're building consistently in the Southwest Florida market. Shout out to them. They got themselves set up. We have Roger Romance, who just recently got set up. That's another VP team in the South Florida area by the Coral Springs, Deerfield area. Okay, when you say South Florida, like it's such a big area. I gotta say Southwest, and then when I say South, it's either like Miami and everything else, right? So Roger's kind of like everything else. He's the Coral Springs, Deerfield area. He's a wealth management advisor, guys. He's already making multiple six figures. He's doing $1 million deals in the securities world, his securities license. But he wanted to find a place to hang his insurance license, and he's fortunate enough that his broker dealer, otherwise known as a BD, his broker dealer lets him have OBA, which stands for outside business activity. He's allowed to have outside business activity in the form of insurance outside of that company, which just so you guys know, that's not common. A lot of securities companies do not let you write insurance outside of their platform because they look at it as a competition, right? Why is that? Because we're doing pension plans, indexed annuities, infinite banking, premium financing. Okay, these are all wealth management strategies that we're doing, but his firm allows him to do it. That's huge for anybody here that maybe one day in the future wants to contemplate getting a securities license and adding that to their platform. That might be a place you guys can do it at. Okay, but he's down there. That's a new VP that's in the market space that's building and growing. And am I missing anybody, babe? Am I missing anybody? Any new VP organizations for me? No? Okay. Okay, cool. Question for you guys. How many of you guys would like if I can manage to get a training by Carlos Colon? Carlos Colon, just so you guys know, is a $6 million annuity writer on his personal pen. $6 million of annuity business. You guys would benefit from something like that? Yeah? Yeah? Okay. Here's what I need you guys to do for me. I want you guys to show him some love. He just came back from vacation. That's why he's not able to get on right now. But I want you to get on the Voxer. Okay, and you know that ampersand sign, that at, not, is it ampersand? No, the at sign, you know the at symbol, right? I want you to tag him. Carlos, we would love to see your annuity training. Carlos Colon, take a second and go ahead and do that real quickly on the Voxer. At sign, Carlos Colon, we would love to see your annuity training. And I'm gonna sweet talk this man into doing his annuity training, because from what I hear, it's super simple, it's super easy, it's super funny. And listen, he's getting results. 6 million personal pen annuity written business, like in 1 year. That is legit. That is solid. My best year ever was 1.5, 1.6 on the personal side on my pen. This guy's doing 6. Like me, he just 4x'd everything that I'm doing. I'm dying to see that one. Okay. Let's see here. We'd love to see your annuity training, Carlos. And, let me give a shout out real quickly as well to Eber Martinez. So Eber Martinez, he's on the training right now, just so you guys know. He found my YouTube channel. He found the brand new YouTube channel that we have. We don't have nearly as many subscribers as we did in the old channel. He shot me a text message at like 3 in the morning last night. It was like, hey, listen, I found your channel. I want to partner with you. What do I got to do to make this bad boy happen? He comes from practice company PHP, transitioned into practice company WFG, and now he's looking to make a move here with TKO Financial Network. And he reached out to me, which is an amazing thing to have an unsolicited type of a conversation in regards to possibly partnering together. So I invited him to the training today. He's going to see what we're all about. And then who knows? We're going to see if after the training he makes it official and gets himself into the system. So T. Hansen would like to see your annuity training. What is Voxer? So T, you got to download Voxer. It's an application called Voxer, V as in Victor, Voxer. It's like a chat room. And what will happen is I'll add you into there, and that in there you'll see over 100 and some odd agents that constantly are communicating and talking together. Rubiel, I love that you tagged him on this, but he's not on here right now, so I need you to go on Voxer and tag Carlos Colon and say, hey, we'd love to see your annuity training. Anyways, let's get back into this. Who knows what this acronym stands for? PDR. Who knows what PDR stands for? I know a couple of y'all do. Yeah, Puebly does. I know Puebly. Don't say it yet, Puebly. Who here knows? If nobody guesses, I'm going to ask Puebly to tell me. Who knows what PDR stands for? Anybody? Oh, I'm going to give you $1 million nugget right now. I'm telling you, this is $1 million type stuff right here. Okay, are you ready? Are you ready? Puebly, go ahead. Tell me, what does PDR stand for?
Policy Delivery Receipt.
You're right. You're 100% right. But I'm actually talking about a different PDR as well, too. That is $1 million one. I'm talking about a different one. Anybody know what PDR stands for from an activity standpoint? It's practice.
Drill, rehearse.
There it is. Practice, drill, rehearse. Practice, drill, rehearse. This morning, during our full-timers, I gave some huge nuggets in reference to getting into the 401k space. I gave some huge marketing nuggets of how to get into a market of people that have a higher probability of needing to roll over their money. So if you missed full-timers, you missed out. You just quite frankly missed out. I didn't even record it. I'm not even gonna lie, I should have recorded, but I didn't even record it. But one thing I talked about was the PDR concept, practice, drill, rehearse, practice, drill, rehearse. Many people's successes in whatever they do is what gives them the success is not what they do on stage. It's not what they do on the court. It's what they do off the stage. It's what they do off the court. It's what they do behind the scenes. It's what they do when no one's watching them. Practice, drill, rehearse. Practice, drill, rehearse. Why am I saying that? Because today my training that I'm going to give you is going to be the 4 types of insurances. Now you might say to me, Tony, I've seen the 4 types of insurances. I've seen it on you. I've seen it plenty of times. I've seen it in trainings. I've seen it in one-on-ones. I've seen it in the YouTube channel. I've seen it. You really going to do that one again? Yes. You know why I'm going to do that one again? Because practice, drill, rehearse is what makes you an expert. Practice, drill, rehearse is what makes you an expert. Do you believe that some of the very best basketball players that, let's use Stephen Curry, for example, who's one of the best 3-point shooters that the league has ever seen. Do you think that he became the best because of how many 3-point shots he shoots during the games? No, he became the best because of how many 3-point shots he does off the court in practice. That's what made him the best. He's easily doing 10, 15, 20x, 30x more 3-point shots on the court during practice than he does during the game. Practice, drill, rehearse. Practice, drill, rehearse. I remember Michael Jordan, they did an interview with Michael Jordan, how he used to like to kind of create competition and kind of talk a little bit of smack on the court. And he was throwing a free throw shot and he was talking smack to an opponent. And he told the guy, he says, listen, I'm going to close my eyes. I'm going to throw this free throw shot. And what the guy didn't know is that he had practiced it over and over and over and over and over and over and over on the court, off the court during practices, that it was very easy for him to close his eyes and shoot that free throw and make a swoosh. Why? Practice, drill, rehearse. If I had to think about how many times I've done the 4 types of insurance presentation, I mean, it's got to be in the 10, 20,000 range, easily. But that number that I'm giving you has nothing to do with how many times I've presented it to a client. I've probably presented it in my career about 5,000 times. but I've probably done it behind the scenes. Forget 10,000. Anywhere, I've probably done it behind the scenes anywhere from 20 to 25,000 times. What made me so comfortable in that world is what I did behind the scenes. So I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna practice what I preach, right? We're gonna practice, drill, rehearse the 4 types of insurances. And my hope is that one of you guys says to me, Tony, I went to Office Max, okay, or I went to Staples, and I bought, let me show you what I'm talking about. I'll show you what I mean. I went and I bought a pack of yellow pads. I bought a pack of these bad boys. I bought 10 of them. And do you know that I did that presentation to myself, to my significant other, to my kids, to the mirror, the reflection of myself, to my dog, to my turtle, to my fish, to my hamster, to whatever animals you got. I did it so many times that I went through about 5 of these packets. And I'm gonna look at you and I'm gonna go, wait a minute, you didn't do a single one of these to a client? No, I just did this for practice. I wanna get it to the point where you guys can literally just hit play and go. Muscle memory, you just go. When you get into that zone, that's a sexy zone to be in. That is a sexy zone to be in. I'm gonna show you that presentation. I've been in this industry now for 16 years, guys, just so you guys know. But I was not independent, 1099, all 16 years. I've been independent 1099 for 14 out of those 16 years, just so you guys know, 14 out of 16. And in the 14 out of 16 years, 14 years, I'm not even a killer. I'm gonna be honest with you. I probably shouldn't say it the way that I say it, but I'm just very honest. I'm direct. There's people in this industry now making $1 million, $2 million, $3 million a month. I mean, ridiculous, right? There are. But in my 14 years, I can tell you proudly, I made a little over $3 million in this industry. Why? Because of that presentation. You could take away all the annuity business that I've done. You could take away the disability insurance business that I've done. You could take away the long-term care business that I've done. You could take away the group health insurance business that I've done. You could take away all the self-directed IRA investments that I've done. You could take away all of those. You could take away my premium financing business that I've done. You could take away my life settlement business that I've done. You can take away my infinite banking that I've done. You can take all of that away. I've still made multiple millions of dollars in my 14 years in this industry doing this one presentation right here called 4 types of insurances. So trust me when I tell you, PDR works. That's $1 million tip I'm going to give you guys right now. So let me show you what I mean when I say PDR. Number 1, Tony, is your system, are you systematic? Of course I am. When I meet with a client, the first thing that I do is I find the emotion. I want the emotion. Mr. Client, have you ever passed away? Maybe passed away. Mr. Client, have you ever seen somebody who passed away and had insurance, or seen someone who passed away and didn't have insurance? Have you ever experienced that? I have. Tell me about it. Talk to me. Tell me the story. I want to get them into that emotional state of mind that they were at when they saw someone pass away, number 1, right? Number 2, Mr. Client, are you a believer of insurance? Are you someone who believes in the concept of life insurance? You are. Great. Mr. Client, do you have life insurance yourself? I do or I don't is irrelevant to me. Most people are going to tell you, I don't have any. Why? Why don't you have any? And they're going to tell you the reason why. What's the biggest reason? Time and money. Okay, I understand. Mr. Client, do you mind if I take the next 10 to 15 minutes to share with you how cost effective life insurance actually is? By asking that question, I'm overcoming both the objections of time and money. I'm saying it's cost effective, money. I'm saying, do you mind if I take the next 15 minutes? And if they tell me yes, now they've got the time. I just overcame both of the objections by asking that question. Mr. Client, do you mind if I take the next 10 to 15 minutes to share with you how cost effective life insurance actually is? No, not a problem. That's what most people say. They don't want to be rude. Sure. Immediately right then and there, I go into the 4 types of insurance. So what do? You can either use the flip chart. We have a TKO flip chart. If you're that type of person, you like to use that. Nothing wrong with that. If you're a VP, by the way, I can have that flip chart customized for you with your company logo, your company colors, no problem. But if you're still a little old school like I am, I like to have a legal pad, right? If I'm face-to-face with the client. If I'm virtual, I have this right here. I'm still very old school in that mindset. I can open up the digital flip chart if I want to, but There's nothing, in my opinion, better than telling the story as I'm drawing out the 4 types of insurances. Sometimes you'll see me on a Zoom and behind you, you'll see a lot of stuff over here. It's because I was probably doing a presentation. This board right here makes me some money right now. This legal pad right here does as well. Now the legal pad should be yellow, not white. Yellow is good for the eyes. White is hard for people who are vision impaired. The next thing you want to have with you is really good. Let it go. You have with you really good dry erase markers if you're using the board, or I can tell my kids were playing around in my desk. I love them though. Ah, there it is. We have Sharpies. There it is. Good old-fashioned Sharpies. Good old-fashioned Sharpies. I got like 10 blazers in my closet. And I can almost guarantee you, if you go into the pockets of inside the blazers, you're gonna find a bunch of Sharpies and you're gonna find a bunch of black pens. You just always will. I always have them on me ready to go. This is what I do for presentations. This writes dark. They can see it. This becomes my business card because after every insurance presentation, I tear it out and I give it to them. And that is their visual of the conversation that we had. So let me give you the 4 types of insurances presentation. I'll dialogue it with you. Let me see how good this writes. This writes pretty decent. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Hi, Kobe. My boxer's getting enormous and he loves to be around me all the time. I had to put a dog bed underneath my desk so he could chill and linger with me. He's here right now. He's just kind of looking at me. But he's got a legal pen. He's got notes. He's taking notes as well, too, by the way. Okay, so I'm all about training the whole family. Anyways, let's get this bad boy going. So I'm talking to Mr. Client. Mr. Client's name is John. All right? John, let's talk about insurance, right? There's 4 types of insurances. Let's address all 4 of them so you understand the pro and the cons of each one of them, okay? John, how old are you? Oh, I'm 34. That's what John says. John says I'm 34. I go, okay, great. We have an insurance policy that's called term life. Now, the way this one works is very simple. You're 34 right now, Mr. Client. I'm going to take you from 34 all the way to 64. I'm going to protect 30 years of your life. Now, let's just say that you signed up for roughly $500,000 worth of life insurance, right? Would you believe that $500,000 worth of life insurance for you, Mr. Client, is going to range you anywhere roughly about $40 per month? You know, the number one reason people don't purchase life insurance is because they believe it's expensive. Mr. Client, let me ask you something. Is $40 a month expensive to you? Is $1.10 expensive to you? Probably not, right? Okay, so how does this insurance work? It works very simple. You make your monthly payment every single month, and if something should happen to you inside of this time period, we're going to pay your family $500,000, tax-free, by the way, in the form of what we know is a death benefit, right? Because when most people think of life insurance, they think, what? You have to die in order to get the money. Does that make sense, Mr. Client? Yes, it does. Okay. What if I told you that the insurances that we have also carry what's called living benefits? What does that mean? Living benefit means, what if you don't pass away? What if you develop a very strong critical or chronic illness, like a cancer, a stroke, a heart attack, right? An organ transplant. I mean, if you're going through chemo, dialysis, you're going through some of these very rough medical procedures, it's pretty hard to work, but you're still here. If you had a life insurance policy that only paid upon death benefit, the insurance policy is just waiting for you to pass away. But with living benefits, we're going to give you access to that money while you're alive. Yes, while you're alive. And you don't got to pay it back, Mr. Client. So you get death benefit protection, but you also get living benefit protection. We're going to take the money out and you don't got to pay it back. And you can use that money, by the way, Mr. Client, for whatever you want. You can use it for the medical bills. You can use it for the bills in the house. You can use it for therapy. You can use it to take an expensive vacation with your family to get the heck out of Dodge because you guys just don't want to stress out about what's happening in real life. At the end of the day, you have access to that money while you're alive. So what's the benefit to something like this, Mr. Client? Super cost effective. Super cost effective. What's the negative to something like this? It does expire. You see, after you turn 64 years of age and you've met this 30-year period, this insurance is no longer. It's gone. It's gone. You're not going to get back any of the money that you paid in, and you have to go reapply for more insurance. But you're going to be that much older. You're now a 65-year-old male. And if your health has changed along the way, there's a chance that you might not get coverage. This is a very, 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 I repeat, a very good short-term solution. Does that make sense, Mr. Klein? Yes, it does. Great. We're going to call this one the Toyota Camry. This is the Toyota Camry. Now, for those of you wanting to figure out what I do with the legal pad, I tear it out, I put it on top of the table. Now they're looking at the Camry. It's there. Now I have a brand new sheet of paper, right? And I'm ready to talk about the second type of insurance. For those, when I'm virtual, I just do this. I say, can you remember that, Mr. Client? Toyota Camry, great. Now we're talking about the next type of car that we have. This next type of car is going to be the Lexus. In the insurance world, we call it a GUL, Guaranteed Universal Life. How does this one work? Well, this one's going to protect you from your current age, which is 34, all the way to age 100. You see how much more time we're protecting? That time are some of the benefits of driving a Lexus versus a Toyota, right? Because there's still four wheels, but one of them has better features than another. Now, Mr. Klein, would you agree that a Lexus costs more money than a Camry? Yes? Okay. A Lexus is going to cost about $100 to $130 per month. We're protecting a longer period of time. And by the way, that G stands for guaranteed. We're protecting a longer period of time, guaranteed. So how does this one work? Well, let's use the same hypothetical $500,000 of insurance. Instead of 30 years of coverage, we're protecting, what do we got, 66 years of coverage. You make your monthly payment. If something happens to you anytime in this time period, we give your family $500,000 as a death benefit, or we give you $500,000 as a living benefit. You know where living benefits to something like this becomes very attractive? Right around here, between 80 to 100. You know why? Because 80 to 100 is where there's a highest probability you might need nursing assistance. And if you needed nursing assistance, would you rather go to a government facility, or would you rather be in the comfort of your own home? Would you rather your children be your nurses, or would you rather you have enough money so that your children could hire a nurse to take care of you? That's where living benefits comes in, right? Now I'm going to throw one more feature into this product because Lexus comes with a lot of features. That feature is called ROP, Return of Premium. You know what that means? This is what it means. It means that on the 20th year or the 25th year from when you took out your policy, 20 years from 34 is what? 54. 25 years is 59. That means on your 54th birthday or on your 59th birthday, if you happen to want to cancel this insurance completely, I don't need it anymore, Tony, cancel it. We'll give you a full refund of all the money you ever paid into it. A return of your premium. It's pretty good. I mean, you add up $130 a month for, 25 years. Let me do the math for you real quick because I'm not good with numbers. That's $39,000 you get back. I mean, if you have a brand new mortgage right now, Mr. Client, okay, if you got a brand new mortgage right now, and 25 years from now, you want to pay off that mortgage, that money right there could really pay off that mortgage completely, leaving you debt-free, and now your house becomes an asset, and you don't need the insurance any longer. Would you agree? This is my Lexus. What's the benefit to something like this? Number one, insurance lasts until 100, and number two, return of premium. Okay? What's the negative to something like this? This year, you make zero earnings. The biggest thing I need you to understand is that this money is just the money you put in. You didn't earn anything. It's like a that make sense? Good, awesome. What do I do now? I tear it out, right? And boom, I put it there on top of the table. Now they're looking at the Camry and the Lexus. What I'm now gonna do is a trial close. I'm not gonna talk about the IUL just yet. I want a trial close. Here's my statement that I say to them. Mr. Client, if we're at the dealership lot right now and the only thing I have to show you is a Lexus or a Camry, which of the two are you more interested in? You know why I asked that question? If after I present the Lexus, they're still interested in the Camry, okay, chances are it's a budget issue. There's no point in talking about an IUL and showing them 200, 250, 300 bucks a month if they don't even want to consider 100 bucks a month for a GUL. So at that point in time, I need to edify the concept of getting term insurance, the concept of getting protection in place, the concept of budget control, really sell the benefits of term life insurance, but also sell the benefits of conversion versus continuing to talk about or focus on the IUL, okay? Too many times I've seen agents who are unexperienced try to think that the only thing they want to sell is the IUL, and then they sell something overpriced to a client. The client makes the payment the first month, the second month, the third month, and then the fourth month, the policy lapses because the client can't continue to make the payments, and now you have to deal with a chargeback. And you put in all that work to underwrite it, only have to give all that money back. You lost money and you lost time. Recommend something that's within people's budget. So I stop here and I give them a trial close. Out of these two, which of the two are you more interested in? Right? That's my style, it's my technique. Hopefully it works for you. Now I go, okay, now Mr. Client, let's talk about the third type of insurance. Now this third one, this is the best of the best. Let me ask you a question, Mr. Client. What's your favorite car? What's your absolute dream car? I mean, if you had all the money in the world, you could pick up whatever car you wanted, what car would it be? Let's say that person says to me, you know, my favorite car is the Ferrari. Oh my God, I love the Ferrari. Okay, perfect, gotcha. So the Ferrari, let's talk about the Ferrari. This is the Ferrari. Now a Ferrari, like most exotics, it's an asset, not a debt. It's an asset. This type of insurance is exactly that. It's an asset. You're going to make more money than what you put in. How does it work? Let's use the same hypothetical $500,000 of insurance. And this insurance has two buckets. One bucket is insurance protection. Insurance protection. Well, what kind of protection is it going to give you? One bucket says, hey, we're going to give you a living benefit. We're going to give you a death benefit. We're going to give all that to you. And it's going to be there until 120 years of age. That's what this side of it does. But this side of the bucket is going to be an investment account, a savings account that's going to earn interest. That's what this is going to be right here, right? It's going to give you a couple things, right? It's going to give you a guarantee that if the market goes down, you're not going to lose any money. It's going to give you a rate of return when the market does go up. You can make money with the stock market. It's going to give you the option to generate income for life. So you never have to run out of money. You never have to run out of money when you retire. But it's also going to give you protection against creditors and, you ready? If structured properly, protection against taxes, not having to pay Uncle Sam. Now, something like this, just so you know, it ranges right around $250 a month. Does it have to be $250? No, it doesn't. I've got strategies like this for my children at 75 bucks a month each. Time out. You notice how I just dropped in that nugget? You notice how I just dropped in that nugget, that little indirect nugget? I've got plans on these for my children. My child who's 11 years of age at 75 bucks a month. I already planted that seed there. You know what a parent is going to say? Wait, I can do this for my kids? Yes, you can. I didn't know that. I just dropped in that nugget, right? And I'm going to say 200, 250 bucks is kind of the average of what people do here, but it's not what you have to do. You can do more, you can do less. I'm just showing you conceptually how this plan works. Now, out of the 250, part of this money goes here to the insurance, part of the money goes here into the savings account. Okay? Now, what's the benefit to something like this? I mean, tax-free earnings, retirement plan. This plan is very holistic. This one says if you die too soon, death benefit to your family. Live too long, tax-free income for yourself. Get sick along the way, living benefits. I mean, this takes care of everything for you. This is a legacy tool. What's the downside to this? You ready? It's not short-term. This is not something that you do for 1, 2 years, 3 years and expect to get a return. This is something that you do for the long haul. And Mr. Klein, if you're willing to pay your cell phone for the last 10 to 15 years of your life, every single month religiously, and you know you're going to pay your cell phone religiously every single month until probably the last day that you're here, because that's how valuable your cell phone is, what's stopping you from paying yourself until you hit retirement? That's what this strategy, this is what the wealth of America loves to do. This is the Ferrari. Does that make sense, Mr. Klein? It does. Now, Mr. Klein, out of the 3 that I just explained to you, before you answer this question, I want you to take into account interest, your level of interest, and number 2, budget. Out of the 3 that I just showed you, you have a Camry, you have a Lexus, you have a Ferrari. Which one are you more interested in that you have the budget to afford in today's time? And then let them give you an answer. Let them give you an answer. Let them tell you which one they want. No problem. You know what I do after this? I tear this off. Shh. Right? What does IUL stand for? It stands for Indexed Universal Life. Indexed Universal Life Insurance Policy, which we can dig a little bit deeper in that in this coming Saturday's training. But I'll tear this off. Now I've got 3 sheets on the table, and they can look at them. They can see Lexus, Camry, they can see them. It's tangible. And the reason why I prefer to do it like this versus a digital flip chart is because I can tell the story as I'm drawing it. I can tell the story. People are focusing on what you're writing. When you show a digital flip chart, their eyes can wander over the entire thing. I want them focusing on what I'm talking to them. Why? Because facts tell, but stories sell. Facts tell. That's all they do. But a story will sell. And the entire time, that's what I'm trying to do, is I'm trying to sell the story. Right? Now, here's what I will do if the person says to me, I got to think about it. If you don't really see that push, you don't see that level of importance, I tear it off and I go, well, listen, Mr. Client, there's a 4th type of insurance. Okay? This 4th type of insurance, I'm going to call it the Pinto. You know what the Pinto is in the car industry? It's recognized as one of the worst cars ever manufactured. This is the Pinto. And let me explain something to you. The Pinto, if you decide that a Camry's not for you, a Lexus is not for you, or a Ferrari's not for you, and you decide to not get anything and wait till later, you lose the ability to purchase a lot of these insurances the older you get. And if you get to a certain age, the only thing you have access to is what's called the Pinto. In our world, we call this final expense. How does it work? It's very plain vanilla. It's for people that are 50 plus years of age. It'll last until 120 years of age. The most amount of insurance that you could possibly get is about $40,000. It's going to cost you anywhere from $75 to $150 per month, and it's only going to have a death benefit. It will not give you access to this money while you're alive for other reasons. It's very plain vanilla. You pay a high amount of money for a very low amount of insurance to cover your final costs. And you know what every single person that's ever purchased one of these policies from me says? You know what they say? I wish when I was younger, I would have purchased a Lexus or Ferrari or a Camry, but I wish I would have done something then, because I lost all my options to doing something, and this is all I have left to choose from. So, Mr. Klein, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 meaning, Tony, I'm not interested at all, this is a waste of my time, or 10 meaning, Tony, I'm very interested. Where do you see yourself in that pendulum? Where do you see yourself on that scale in regards to your urgency to protect yourself and your family? It's my presentation. What was it? Hang on. Where were you? Where were you 10 years ago? Yeah, that's what they say. Where were you 10 years ago, Tony? Listen, man. I called you, but you didn't answer. I tried, but you didn't answer. But honestly, guys, that's my presentation right there. That's genuine. I tear that piece out. I have all four of them there. I have all four of them there on the table. And I let them then tell, well, I want this one. I want this one. I want this one. My next step after this is to do a dime analysis. Because now that I know what type of insurance they want, I also now need to figure out how much insurance they need. This isn't just about slinging insurance and just selling them 500,000. No, stop being that kind of an agent. Sell the right amount of insurance and stop thinking that the IUL is the only thing that's going to really make you some good commissions. Number one, do right by the client. It's the mission, not the commission. Number one, it's a cliche to say it, but it's the truth. But number two, when you do the right dime analysis, you'll find yourself selling $1 million, $1.5 million of term life insurance. And when you sell $1.5 million of term life insurance to someone in their mid-30s, guys, I promise you, you're looking at $100 to $125 a month easily in premiums. That's an easy, guys, that's an easy 1,500 AP. 1,500 AP at 100% contract, you just made $1,500 in what, an hour? And you know what you get to do every single year with that term life insurance client? Because you know how I prep my term clients? I go, Mr. Client, you know that your term policy, the Camry, it could turn into a Ferrari without you having to get a medical done. Guaranteed. Mr. Client, is it important for you to retire at some point in the future? It is. Well, Mr. Client, do you think do I have your permission every single year to revisit this? Take a look at your budget. And if next year you can afford to do $200, $250 a month in savings for yourself, maybe we should look at converting this Camry into that Ferrari. Yes, of course, I'd love to do that. You know what I do now? On their birthday, I call them up. Happy birthday, Mr. Client. You have a birthday coming up. It's time for an annual review. Let's sit down for lunch, my treat. You know what you bring with you? Your old fact finder, a new fact finder to see what's changed with their finances, an illustration, the illustration that you sold them, but also an illustration of what $250 a month does in an IUL for them. At the same rating that their term policy got approved at, because that's what they're going to get in that. Guaranteed approved as well. There's no underwriting to that. Submit the application, it's issued. Because most term policies have a conversion provision that allows you to convert from term to perm, from term to IUL without having to get another medical done. You see, if you do your clients right the first time, historically, you'll sell your clients 4 to 7 times in your career with them. And the first sale is never the largest sale. But it's about having a good system of annual reviews with your clients, a good system of annual reviews with your clients. You know how easy it is to have a system of annual reviews with your clients? You know how utterly, absolutely, ridiculously easy it is. I wish I had it in front of me, but I don't. You know how easy it is? It's as easy as having a notebook like this, buy 12 divider tabs, those little sticky tabs when you want to make dividers, buy 12 of them. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. Right? Obviously divide it up evenly among how the thickness of your paper. And what you do is when you finish selling a client, if that person's birthday happens to land in August, you go to the August tab, you put their name, their phone number, what product you sold them, what company. And you keep adding that. This becomes your Bob. Stands for your book of business. Every client you've ever written is here. And they are in here based on their birth date. So then you know what you do at the beginning of every single month? Think about it. We just started June. You know what I'm going to do in June? I'm going to go to June. Oh, wow. I've got 36 clients that all have a birthday in June. Let me give them a call. Let me send them a birthday card. Let me invite them to a lunch. And in that lunch, I'm going to have an annual review with them. And what am I going to bring with me in my annual review? My original fact finder and a new fact finder. The policy that I sold them, plus an illustration of an IUL. Especially if you sold them a term policy. It's an easy conversion. Done. Done. A tip I'll tell you as well too, if you're selling IULs, just kind of my rule. When you're selling policies over $200 a month, do a budget. Do a budget. Take the extra 5 minutes and do a budget with the client. Because you ever met people who are overzealous? We live in a world today where people live above their means. We live in a world today where people want name brands name brands over quality. They just want the name brand. They're keeping up with the Joneses mentality. So you present them with a Lexus and a Camry and a Ferrari, and you're like, oh, I want the Ferrari, I want the Ferrari. You do a budget, and you're like, bro, you can't even afford a Pinto. What are you talking about? You can't even afford a freaking Metro bus. What are you talking about? Why are you going to try to sell somebody something that they can't afford? This is not one of those things where you sell a product and you never see them again. You made your money and run. No. If the client can't keep up their payments for the first year, you have chargebacks. You can pay back commissions. If the client can't keep up their policy for after the first year, you're not going to get any more renewals. What conversion? You can't convert something that's not in force. So a rule of thumb, you get a client that's going to pay more than $200 a month, do a budget on them. Make sure they can afford the $200. And if you do a budget on somebody, my number in my head, just kind of like my rule of thumb, if they have $1,000 left over after they pay all their bills, I'm coming after 500. I go after 50% of their discretionary income. You know why? Watch this. Watch this. Irvin, do me a favor, unmute yourself. I'm gonna ask you a question. I want you to answer the first thing that comes out your mind. Okay, the first thing. You're retired with Mrs. Bergs, right?
Yes.
Okay. What do you think would happen if you didn't have enough money to take her out to dinner, buy her a dress, or take her on those trips that you take to South Carolina?
That ain't gonna happen, buddy.
That ain't funny. That ain't funny, right? Okay. So discretionary income is fun money. If you take away somebody's complete fun money, I promise you, either they're gonna fire you or their significant other's gonna fire you. I was literally saying that, and behind the camera, Sandra was like, can you imagine if somebody took away my discretionary money and Sandra can't get her nails done? Can you imagine? I'm gonna need life insurance. She's gonna kill me. So my rule of thumb is I'm going after half of the discretionary income because I need to make sure they still have enough discretionary income to live and enjoy life. Meeting me can't feel like a burden. It needs to feel like a benefit and a privilege of having met with me. It needs to feel like they were challenged, but it can't feel like, damn, bro, he took all my money. No, I took some of your money. And I am willing to challenge people. My challenge to people when it comes to money is simple. Do you pay yourself first? I don't. Then why you pay your Sprint? Why you pay Verizon? Why you pay AT&T every single month? Is that cell phone carrier when you turn 65 going to say thank you for your 40 years of good service? Here, we're going to pay you back some of your money? Not never. So if you pay them, why don't you pay yourself first? Might be time to reevaluate your budget. And if people don't respond to that type of challenge, here's the benefit of being an entrepreneur. I can pick my clientele. I don't want you in my book of business if you're that frugal with your money, if you're that irresponsible with your money. I don't want you in my book of business because now I know what's going to happen. I'm going to be chasing you down every single God-given day for you to make your policy payments, and I all of a sudden now became your bill collector. I don't want you as a client. Even my own friends, guys, I got friends. They'll come to you. I need insurance, bro. I need insurance, man. Listen, I want insurance. I want insurance. I want insurance. They call you, they text you, then you meet with them, you put insurance in place, and 2 months later, they can't make the payment. Then you calling them and hounding them down. No, boo-boo. My time is more valuable. If you don't see the value of protecting your family and paying yourself first, why am I going to take on that responsibility and that burden? That's just my 2 cents in today's training. I went over by about 10 minutes. What I'd love before I close off is, does anybody have any questions, any feedback? Okay, here's my last piece that I love. Let me see some faces. I would love to just.
I have a question.
Yes, please go for it.
Okay, so you said that someone could upgrade. Now, what if, in fact, they got a policy with someone else, with ABC?
Okay.
And they got a what is that? A guaranteed universal life?
Yes, ma'am.
And they wanted to upgrade to a UIL. Would I be able to upgrade them with that policy, or I would have to do something different?
Okay, good question. So there's like 3 different questions in there. So I need to give you some data. Number one, conversions have to be within the same company. You cannot have an NLG policy term and then convert it into a North American IUL. The conversion, number one, has to be within the same company. Number one. Number two, your conversion has to be from term to perm. So it's got to be a term insurance policy into a permanent. What kind of permanent policies do we have? GULs or IULs. That means you cannot do GUL to IUL. You can do term
Okay.
to GUL, you can do term to IUL, but you can't do it any other way. That's number two. Number three, just because you were not the writing agent to the term policy does not mean that you cannot be the writing agent to the conversion. You can be. If you're appointed with the company, okay, you can be their secondary, you can be their writing agent. Now, do I recommend it that way? No, and I'll tell you why. If the client wants you to be the person that does their secondary policy, take the extra steps and become the agent of record of their first policy. Why? You're not going to make any financial money off that term policy, but you're going to start getting notifications if that policy, has an anniversary, if the person, for whatever reason, their payment lapses, and you're removing the competitor. The insurance agent that wrote that first piece of business, you don't think they're going to contact you once they start seeing that other business is being written? They're going to get those notifications. So to be safe, you make yourself the agent of record of the first policy and then convert the second, and then convert into the permanent plan. And the reason I say that is because when you convert, you don't have to convert 100% of the term. You could do it in pieces.
Okay.
You want to talk about longevity and the value of your book of business? If I sell somebody $1 million term policy and they're not, the wealth of America, let me tell you, $1 million IUL is pretty pricey, but $250,000 IUL is not that pricey. So what I'll typically embed in their head is I'll say, listen, every year we should convert over 25% of your term. That way, after the 4th year, 100% of your term has been turned into permanent insurance. And then every year you're coming after another 200 or 250 a month, another 200, 250 a month, because I'm converting it into pieces. So the first year might be $1 million term, but then the second year it could be 3/4, it could be 750 of term and 250 of IUL. And then the third year it could be 500,000 of term and 500,000 of IUL. And then you get what I'm saying? I'm converting it in pieces, in pieces. Hopefully that answers your questions.
It does. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Tanisha, question, shoot.
Okay, so to piggyback on that, so on a term policy, is there not specific points, like with, I think you said the GUL, where they have to convert? It can be at any point in there?
That's another great question, which has a couple different answers as well for data for you. When you're writing term insurance, make sure that insurance company offers a conversion provision. Not all companies offer a conversion provision, number one. And if it is, and if you are selling it and you know that they're going to want to convert, make sure that company has an IUL platform. For example, Forrester's has a great term insurance platform and a great UL platform, but they don't have an IUL or a GUL. So the conversion of term insurance in Forrester's, in my opinion, isn't that attractive. I want to sell them term. If I know they want in the future IUL, I want to make sure whatever term policy I'm selling is with a company that has a very strong IUL to convert into. Okay, number one. Number two, you have to check with each company. Some companies will only give you the first 20 years to convert. So if you buy a 30-year term and you only have the first 20 years to convert, you need to know that. Some companies won't even give you a conversion feature unless you sell a 20-year term, which means, for example, some companies will sell you a 15-year term policy, but that company might say, hey, conversion provision only applies to 20-year policies and up. So you need to know that kind of stuff. Here's what I do know currently today. American National, 20-year term and up, conversion all 20 years or all 30 years, whatever you sold them. But for example, NLG, that has a great, phenomenal 30-year term, the conversion is only the first 20 years. You can't do it on year 21. You lose that ability. So although it doesn't give you a specific answer, Tanisha, what I'm basically saying is call the company sales support and ask them, what are your conversion provisions? And what conversion protects, so you guys know, it protects their health. It does not protect their age. You need to know that because they need to understand, although you can convert it, it's going to convert based on the age that you do it. So the older you are, the more the cost of insurance is going to be. And it's only guaranteed for health, which means this: if they have a DUI, they can't convert. just so you guys know. If you have a criminal record that you picked up after your first policy, and that criminal record happens to be something that they won't underwrite, you can't convert. You lose that ability. Conversion only protects your health. It does not protect the other metrics that they look at for approval. Does that make sense? Yes, yes, yes. Great. I'll give you one last tip. If you sell a waiver of premium disability, a waiver of premium rider, WP, what that means is if the person becomes disabled, the premium payments are waived, right? You don't have to make the payments, the insurance company is going to pay it. Some insurance companies, if the person is on waiver of premium because they became disabled, some insurance companies will even let the term policy convert into a permanent policy, and they'll make the premium payments to the permanent policy as well. It's kind of a cool little feature. Not all companies do it, but some do, right, Tanisha? Some do. This is where it's your responsibility. My responsibility is to give you the education. Then my responsibility is to tell you, listen, these are the top 4 or 5 companies you should look at, but it's your responsibility to spend some time and call those companies up and find out those little intricacies if that kind of information and that kind of stuff is going to be important for you in your sales process. Any other questions?
You said you did that, the training this morning. Will you do that again on the 401k and all of that?
Of course, of course. The training that I did today was more on how to find 401ks, how to find leveraging social media, which I'm not going to lie, I should have recorded it, but quite frankly, I just forgot. But I'll give it again. That's not a problem now. Okay, that's the PDR in me. That's the practice, drill, rehearse. Some of you guys have seen my four types of insurances presentation that I gave today. But practice, drill, rehearse. Do it over, do it over, do it over. I'm sure some of you might have even learned something new that you didn't learn the last few times that you've seen me do this presentation. Anybody else have any other questions?
I had a question.
Yes, ma'am.
And all of this is new to me, so excuse me if this is a nutty question.
No such thing as a bad question.
You talked about final expense,
Yes.
that being the Pinto, and it's 50 years to 120 years. So if I have a customer that's, let's say, 52 years old, is that their only option at that point?
No. So
Okay.
that's another great question. Okay, so you have to cater to your audience. If I'm talking to somebody, like for example, if I bought a final expense lead and my client is 65, I'm not going to be like, man, you suck. All you can get is a Pinto, right? Like I'm not going to do that. I'm not even going to address the GUL as like that. You know what I mean? It's a different sales. That presentation is more to the 20, the 30, and the 40-year-old. But a 50-year-old, in my opinion, my professional opinion, has 2 options, maybe a third. 2 options are what? A GUL or a final expense.
Okay.
Right? A 50-plus-year-old, that's the conversation you need to be having with them. And the difference between one or the other is really their budget. Because the GUL for a 50-year-old is going to be a costly product. It's going to be a $250 to $300 a month product. It is. Now you might say to yourself, well, why aren't you talking IUL to a 50-year-old? I'll tell you, if you're selling a 50-year-old in IUL, you better be talking to that client about $500 to $750 minimum per month or more. I mean, more the better, but you really need to be, because an IUL needs time to grow. It needs, guys, it needs 10 years for you to get back the principal, 20 years for it to be really considered an asset that is worthwhile. So think about a 50-year-old having to wait 20 years before they start to see some profits. That's a 70-year-old by then. It's a very different for a 20-year-old to wait 20 years. Then they're in their 40s. Now they still got another 20 more years to compound their money and really turn it into an asset that made them 5-6 times their amount of money. But an IUL on a 50-year-old, guys, they better be putting in some serious cheddar. Otherwise, I don't think it's a wise recommendation.
Okay.
My language,
Thank you.
You're welcome. My language is very different to the 50-year-old. My language to them, see, the IUL to a 20, 30-year-old kills 2 birds with 1 stone, insurance and retirement planning. But when I talk to a 50-year-old, my conversation with them is, which of these 2 do we want to take care of today? Because I don't have a solution to kill 2 birds with 1 stone for a 50-year-old. What are we taking care of? Are we taking care of your savings, or are we taking care of your insurance needs? Because we got to figure out which one we want to take care of first. Oh, I want to take care of my insurance needs. Great. We've got GUL. We've got final expense. Which of the two do you want? Right? Oh, I want to take care of my savings needs. Okay, great. Let's talk about the existing assets that you have, and let's have a conversation about maybe a rollover, a 401k, rollover, an annuity. And if we're going to be talking about new money, you really have to understand that a 50-year-old needs to be, they can't be thinking 100, 200 bucks a month. They need to be thinking 700, 800, 900 bucks a month. And then maybe we can have an IUL conversation. So I'm not going to tell you that I don't sell IULs to 50-year-olds. What I am going to tell you is I'm not selling $100 a month IULs to 50-year-olds. It just doesn't make sense. It's just, it doesn't make sense. And then you're inflating something that's not going to do what it needs to do at that dollar amount for them. $100 a month for a 15-year-old. I mean, my 19-year-old, I just put him on 125 a month on my IUL because it's 19. You know what 40 years of compounding power does on 125 bucks a month? Like what Tanisha did a little while ago, that's what happens. 125 bucks a month on a 50-year-old. I mean, it might buy him a bus pass. Just the truth. It's being real. The cost of insurance internally on a 50-year-old is a heck of a lot higher than a 19-year-old. That 125 a month, a good portion of it is getting gobbled up just in cost of insurance. Anybody else have any questions?
I have a question on final expense.
Lulu first, and then Tanisha. Go for it.
So I was with a client just a few minutes ago who wanted a quote for term, and she was asking to insure both her parents, but her parents live in Mexico as a retirement. They're obviously retired, but they come and go. They have dual residency.
Okay.
What do you recommend for that? Can we insure them? And
so they have dual residency, United States and Mexico, right? Is that correct, Lulu?
I'm sorry?
So they have dual residency, United States and Mexico, right?
They have dual residency, yes, and they come and go as they see.
Okay, but they have residency, like they're not undocumented. They have resident cards, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, we should easily.
They're citizens. They're citizens.
Yeah, you shouldn't have a problem getting them covered. I mean, what you want to do, obviously, is call the company and see what their residence provisions are.
Yeah.
Off rip, I can tell you right now, if you can sell them a $25,000 whole life policy, you can go to NLG all day, every day. NLG is going to be your best company for anything that has to do with residency status because they accept non-resident aliens. They accept non-resident aliens from high-risk state countries like Venezuela, as long as they can show that they have an ITIN, and as long as they can show that they've been living here in the United States for at least 6 months. Okay, but you shouldn't have a problem with that. That should be a no-brainer. That should be a slam dunk. Okay. The countries you guys want to worry about and do a little more research before you give a recommendation are countries that fall into what's called the OFAC state. The OFAC, OFAC, Office of Foreign Asset Control. That is a list that the government puts on countries that are high risk for communism. Cuba, Iraq, Iran, right? And right now, which country in South America is going through some pretty ugly struggles? Venezuela right now is on that list. Correct. What's another country that I wouldn't be surprised if in the next 6 months it gets added to that list with what's happening in today's world in South America? Colombia.
Mexico.
Correct. Exact. So any country that goes through those types of economical, political changes where they're risking socialism, communism, communist countries will never get along with democratic countries like the United States. They won't. So there's higher risk of terrorism, attack, so on and so forth. And so if you're in the OFAC list, it's very hard to get you covered. The only company I know right now that'll get some of those countries covered is NLG, the only one. Only one I can think of right now, to be honest with you. Okay. And I'll tell you this, it's got to be a situation where it's like they're here and they're not coming back. They're not, oh, I go back 6 months out of the year. Like, no. Then the insurance, there's no insurance company in the planet that's going to insure a Venezuelan that's going to say, I'm going back 6 months out of the year. They just won't. I mean, there's freaking rifles going on. You know, people with machetes and rifles walking the streets over there. They're not, the insurance company is going to take that risk right now. Anybody have any other questions? Good stuff? Okay. We went over by about 25 minutes, so I apologize, but I definitely want to make sure that you guys gain some value in this, okay? But again, how I started this, PDR, practice, drill, rehearse, practice, drill, rehearse. I want to see one of you guys, I genuinely want to see one of you guys take it serious. Grab 4 or 5 of these notepads and say, hey man, I'm gonna fill these things up with practicing. My wife, my husband is gonna get sick and tired of seeing me do this presentation. Tony, they are going to call you and cuss you out because I did this presentation to them so many stinking times. My kids don't even want to talk to me anymore. That's all I do. I wake up in the middle of my sleep because this is the only presentation I know how to do. Like it really does require you. If you want to become a master at your craft, it's not about just coming to the trainings on Mondays and Saturdays. It's about you know, practicing what it is that's given to you off the screen. I am nothing more than a product of having done these presentations thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of times. That's all that I am. To me, it's just I just hit play, right? Like a good salesman is nothing more than a bad actor who wanted to be an actor. That's what it is, right? Because that's all a salesman is doing is they're just hitting play and using their scripts. But it's going to take you doing it so many times over and over again so that the person you're doing it on doesn't feel like it's a script or a role play that you're doing. Hopefully that makes sense. Here's what I would love. If you're watching this on YouTube, give me your comments. If you're interested in learning more about TKO Financial Network, hit me up. My number is 239-784-1118. And if you're on the training today, I want your 2 biggest takeaways on Voxer, on our group chat. I want your 2 biggest takeaways. I don't care if you've seen this 10 times, 20 times. If you learned something new today, I want your 2 biggest takeaways on Voxer because I want to see from you guys what it is that you're learning from this practice, drill, rehearse concept. All right, guys? Good stuff? Good. Be blessed. Have a good evening. Good night. I'll see you guys on the leaders board. I'll see you this Saturday for training. Let's go out there and kill it. My friend, Mr. Martinez, I'm going to give you a call right now. Have a good one. Bye-bye.